Hello. We are going to tier rank all of my reads from January to June. So, you guys, there's like 91 books. By the way, it is the last day of summer and my boys are playing a game. So I'm going to apologize once for any sounds you hear coming from the next room because my boys are, well, they're playing nicely, at least together. So I'm going to apologize probably just the once for that. So without further ado, let's get into tier ranking my reads. So here is our ranking system. These are all of the books that I've read from January to June. And these are how I'm breaking them up. So we have at the top, my absolute favorites. Those are the ones that I don't want to live without. And then we have great, but I could live without. Middle of the road, good, but perfectly average. Below that is meh, not my favorite. And lastly, why did I read this? So, let's go. Wow, coming in hot. First up here is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This book actually wasn't my favorite of the trilogy, but the entire trilogy goes to the top. My absolute fave. I want to take these with me if my house is burning down. I want to grab these ones. Temperance. Temperance is, I can't remember the author, but it is a kind of a closed door, sweet, clean Western romance. And it was good. It was perfectly average. It was good. Daughter of the Siren Queen. That one goes straight up to the top. Daughter of the Pirate King was also one of my favorites last year. Straight up to the top. Monstrous. This is Monstrous Volume 2. I really like the Monstrous graphic novel series so far, but I could live without them. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and this is basically the movie script. I am going to put this down in good, perfectly average, even though what I just said, that it's like one of my favorite movies of all time, and this is basically the script. Reading it is so much different than watching it. And there are some things that time has not softened in this book. The Outpost by Devney Perry. This is great, but I could live without. This follows I think she may have been a reporter, and she did a journalist who did a story on the mob, I'm pretty sure, and she's put in a ton of danger. She ends up moving to, I believe, Montana, or fleeing to Montana, where her best friend lives, and the ranger, the head ranger, whatever, there takes her to his outpost, one of his outposts, to try to hide her out, and some romance ensues. I really liked it. I thought it was really, really good, but I could probably live without it. Divergent. This is also one of my, I love this movie series, but this is good. Pretty average YA dystopian. King of the Murgos. This is by David Eddings, and it is the Malloreon, I believe, one of the Malloreon series. It is great. I'm not going to pull it off my shelves if they were burning, but it's a great book. Okay, An Offer from a Gentleman. I do not know which Bridgerton book this is, but so far, I think I've read 6 of the Bridgerton novels this year, and of those, most of them have been, not my fave. I don't know what it is about the main male characters in the bulk of these books, but this is so cringy. So, not my favorite. Oh, The Princess Bride. Okay. I, again, like Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I weirdly assumed that the book was going to be better than the movie. I was very wrong. Solidly one of the most disappointing reads of the entire year, if not the most disappointing read. Again, we have a Bridgerton novel, The Duke and I. None of these ones that are in this list are going to make it above. Meh, not my favorite. Okay, Morningstar. And I see Golden Sun down here. I so want to just pull them, but I know that if I do that, I'll want to go back and pull the other ones in series. I'm not doing it. Morningstar. These are great that I could live without. The Red Rising series is very good, and it's actually, much of it has been either high 4-star or even 5-star, but they're not books that I would probably, if we were going into an apocalypse, I don't think I would save them. So, Ruin and Rising. This is the last Shadow and Bone book. I wish I had one right in between great and good, because I think it's above perfectly average. We'll put it in great, but I could live without. But I mean, I guess I would have loved it somewhere in the middle. Wildlands. This is the Savage Lands book 2. Also great, but I could live without. I really liked it, but the Northwind. Okay. I have the Northwind and the Westwind in special edition, and I again assumed that being in special edition they were going to be like these super fantastic books. They were not. Or it was not. I have been too scared to read the Westwind. There were so many weird errors in this book. Like just like editing and formatting and just weird errors, and it, for me, detracted from the book. It didn't I didn't question my life after I read it, so like, why did I read this? So it doesn't go in the bottom, but it definitely is not rising above. Not my favorite. Siege and Storm up with Ruin and Rising. This is the second Shadow and Bone book. Again, great, but meh. This is The Traitor Queen. This is the second book in the Bridge Kingdom series, and it is one of my favorites. Left me thinking about these 2 books in particular. I think there's 4 books in the series. 3 and 4, not my favorite. In fact, I DNF'd the 3rd book, but books 1 and 2, absolutely one of my favorite reads. There Are No Saints. This, the more I think about it, so this is by Sophie Lark. I really like Sophie Lark's writing, and I've liked other Sophie Lark books. We're gonna put this. We're gonna put it in good. It's pretty good. The Bridge Kingdom, that goes up with The Traitor Queen. I've already talked about that phenomenal book series. That's by Danielle L. Jensen. Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This, I don't know. Do I put this at the top or do I put this? Okay, we're gonna settle there because I come back to like, would I pull it off my shelf to save it in a fire? I don't know. Which tells me no. Curse of Shadow and Thorns, straight up to the top. This is by L.J. Andrews. This was one of my most surprising reads of the year. It is a fantasy romance, but super slow burn, and fantasy takes like the front seat. I thought it was such a good series. Call Me Maybe is an Audible original. It's kind of like listening to a movie without the video. And actually, so is Maybe This Time, and I am going to pull these ones because they're in Sweet Talk. All three of those, they were just free in the Audible catalog. There's like a bunch of free books in Audible, and these three, I listened to one and I thought, hey, that was fun. It was super fast, like 3-hour read. And so I listened to like all three of them in a day or two. It's good, very average, fun little palate cleansers. Heartless Hunter. This one is also great, but I could live without. Although I am eagerly anticipating the second novel. If you don't know, that's following a witch and a witch hunter, and some romance. Ashes of You. This is in an interconnected standalone series. I kind of just picked this one up because I saw a Facebook ad for it and I thought that sounds good. So I didn't put it in average because I remember liking it, but I honestly don't even remember the plot. I can't tell you. Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This I thought was great, but I could live without. This is a continuation from the, or like a spinoff from Chestnut Springs, I believe. This is Willa's brother. God Killer. This was also great, but I could live without. I have Sunbringer on my autumn TBR. It's the second one. This was a very inventive and fresh fantasy world. It was very, very good. Guardians of the West is I'm gonna put it up here with King of the Murgos. Both of those. This is the first in the Malorian series. The Breakup Ep. This is perfectly average. This was exactly what it sounds like. You have two people who have recently broken up with others, and they are both kind of in vulnerable situations, and so they make a bet about their own desirability. I'm not really sure. I can't remember, but it was good. It was average. Grace. This is going up here with Temperance. In the same series, very same writing, very same format, clean, closed-door Western romance. Historical, actual Western romance. Savage Lands, up here with Wildlands. Savage Lands is book 1, and so it goes right up there with Wildlands. I feel the same about both of those books. It follows like a dystopian fantasy world where it's set in Budapest, and there are two different sides. So there's been a Fae war. The humans have been at war with the Fae, and so there's a Buddha side and a Pest side. the Fae live on the Buddha side and the humans live on the pest side. And we follow some military. The main female character was in the military, in the human military, and just find some things out. So, yes, I like them. I think there's like 8 books or something, so I'm not really sure how we're gonna go through that many books, but so far I've liked books 1 and book 2. Books 1 and 2. Next in line, this is the second in an interconnected standalone series. The first one is Wait With Me, which actually I think became a movie on one of those like offshoot channels or something on Amazon. Wait With Me. I really liked Wait With Me. I thought it was fresh and original, and Next in Line followed. I thought it was great. The Flirt. Why did I read this? This is one of my lowest rated books of the year. In fact, I basically had to force myself to finish this book. I don't remember why I had to finish it, but I was like, just finish the book. It was terrible. I didn't like it. 9-month contract. This was cute. Has some plus size representation, which I like. And also it was just very sweet. It was so sugar sweet and adorable. Very average. Perfectly average romance. It was very good. Golden Sun. It's going to go up here with Morningstar. After finishing Morningstar, I hit a wall and I have not been able to move on in this series. I desperately want to finish the last 3 books. I have them on my shelves, but every time they come up, I'm just like, I'm not doing it. Bride. Okay. This is a little bit of a controversial book. You either really like it or you really don't. I thought it was great for what it was. I didn't expect it to be anything different. I knew it was going to be a kind of a weird romance. And so I didn't expect it to be anything different than what it was. So I thought it was great. I could definitely live without it. But I thought for Ali Hazelwood's foray into more paranormal romance, very good. A Fate Inked in Blood. This is also by Danielle L. Jensen. This is more Nordic Viking kind of lore. I thought this was great. I really liked it. I liked the magic system and I liked the storyline. There is one kind of theme in this book that was a little bit of a hiccup for me, but I got over it, and I'm curious how other people feel about it. Rhapsodic, A Strange Hymn, and The Emperor of Evening Stars. I listened to all 3 of these. They were free on Amazon or on Audible. And I pumped all 3 of these out in 2 days. They're not like super crazy long, but I basically read a book and a half, or listened to, however you want to say that, a book and a half a day, because they were going off of free. And so I was like, I have to get these. I want to get these read. I have not finished the 4th book because it has not been free, and I just haven't finished it. And honestly, right now, the main kind of point of this book is eluding me. So I'm going to I remember liking them, so I'm going to put them in perfectly average. But yeah, I need a refresher of what these are about. I remembered liking them. I remembered liking them a lot, and I wanted to go into the 4th book, but I was low on Audible credits or something, and I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna leave it. The Fake Mate. I wanted to like this more than I did. I kind of got into a Wolf Shifter thing after Bride. So it was like Bride, The Fake Mate, and then Wolf Gone Wild. The Fake Mate, yeah, it just wasn't my favorite. I wanted to like it more than I did. Wolf Gone Wild, on the other hand, this might be one of my absolute favorites. I just put it up there. It's one of my absolute favorites. I am a huge Venom fan, and I love the play between Venom and, what's his name? I can't remember. And this has a very similar vibes to that, the inner voice and dialogue and stuff. So I loved this book. I was so pleasantly surprised with it. The Viscount Who Loved Me, that is also going with the other Bridgerton books. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry, actually. Butcher and Blackbird. I really want to I'm going to put this in my absolute faves. I did not give this a 5-star book, 5 stars, and because I don't think it's a 5-star read, but it is it's one of my favorite books because it's so easy to disengage when you're reading this. The banter is fun. It's completely unrealistic and weird and like whatever, but I had such a good time with that book. So I'm going to go ahead and put it at the top. Come for me. Happily Never After. This was cute. I thought it was very great. Very good. Walking Shadows. This is a Decker and Lazarus novel. I've not read any of the previous novels, so I'm assuming that they're all interconnected standalones. This was really good. I like this. It's a mystery thriller. Faye Kellerman is a great writer, and I had a great time with that. Pretty Little Mistake, Second Chance Romance. It's going in the perfectly average column. Magician Apprentice. My husband really wants me to like this series. I'm gonna put it like down at not my favorite. I don't know why I'm whispering, but when leveled against or like weighed against David Eddings, this is by Raymond E. Feist, but when weighed against the Belgariad and the Malloreon series by David Eddings, I just like it's just not my favorite. It's not my favorite. House of Earth and Blood, just going up next to House of Sky and Breath. I am weighing these as a series as a whole. These two books I didn't struggle through. They're just really long. But yeah, I would definitely be saving these. All Systems Red. I think this is a Martha Wells. I can't remember what this is. Murderbot, I think. The first Murderbot. I read this for a Murderbot Diaries. Anyway, whatever. I read this for a readathon, and I really liked it. I think it's All Systems Red, or all. I can't remember. Anyway, I liked it. It was perfectly average. Oops. Okay. The Way I Heard It by Micro is going up into my my absolute faves. First of all, if you are interested in this book, it is kind of his memoirs, or like he tells a bunch of stories the way he heard it, right? And then he goes into like some of the history behind those stories. If you have an interest in this book, listen to it, because he performs it on the audio, and I just love Micro's voice so much. It's one of my favorites. It's also a very good book. One Dark Window. This also gives me Venom vibes. This is very good. This is great, actually. Very great. The Night and Its Moon. I have this whole series. My husband bought it for me for Christmas. I want to love it. It's about two girls who were orphaned together and took care of each other. It is fantasy. It's like I don't know if it's a romance or if it's just fantasy. It does have some elements of romance, but kind of, I don't really know. I don't really know. Anyway, it was perfectly average. It's very good. I'm struggling to get into the second book. I will get there. Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I don't know what's happening, but I was so disappointed in this book. I guess it might be Neil Gaiman's writing, and I'm a little hesitant to get into Coraline because of it. But yeah, the movie adaptation is solidly better than the book. Flawless. Okay, if you look here, you'll notice there are no other Chestnut Spring books here because I started with Heartless and went on from there because I fell in love with Caden Willa, and I just had no interest in reading I can't remember their names, but I had no interest in reading the first couple's story. But I went back and I read it, and I loved it. Of course I loved it. I love all of the Chestnut Spring series books. So there's that. Twisted Love. It's not my favorite. I don't understand the hype. Raiders of the Lost Heart. It's just like kind of a popcorn romance read. Oh my gosh. Okay. The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. This book freaking wrecked me. It is great. It is a great book, but I could definitely live without it because it just made me cry so hard. Oh, the Love and STEM series. Okay. None of these are my absolute fave, but they all are so great. I loved every one of these. In fact, I've not read an Allie Hazelwood I haven't liked. So these were all very, very cute. Oh, It's Been a Broken Heart. I'm gonna put this one up in good, perfectly average. I just recently filmed finishing this series and I liked the subsequent books better. I think the ballad for Never After, the Ballad of Never After is probably my favorite in the series. So the second one is probably my favorite. Dumbing Us Down by John T. Gatto. I had to read this for school. It is an incredible read about our American school system and the history of it, and how we are creating robots, mindless, emotionless robots in our school system. It's very, very good. Enchantress Endgame. This is also a Mallorean. All right, this might be... No, this is a Belgariad book. This is a Belgariad book. Very good. Yeah. These, the Belgariad, the Mallorean, these by David Eddings, excellent books. The Belgariad, there's 5 books in the Belgariad, and then there's 5 books in the Mallorean. The Mallorean is an offshoot of the Belgariad. So, excellent fantasy books. Like, old school, epic fantasy books. Very good. The Kiss Curse. This was meh, perfectly average. I said meh, like not for me, meh, but like it was just perfectly average. Castle of Wizardry, that is a Belgariad, is going up there. Okay. I can't. They just both go up there. Silver Flames and Frost and Starlight. Frost and Starlight took me stupid long to get through because I just was not interested in it. But it's part of the series, and so therefore the whole series goes at the top. They are at the top of my bookshelf in a place of honor. So there they go. Instafamily. This was the second time I read this book, and I remembered it being so much better the first time. Then the second time, it didn't really hit very hard the second time I read it. So I guess I've just changed as a reader. Magician's Gambit. This is also a Belgariad book. Goes up there with the rest. Excellent, as I've said. The Final Offer. This one was probably my favorite of the Dreamland Billionaire series. I think the subject matter of it was more real and relatable than the other two books. And Lauren Asher, okay, right? I think that's who writes it. All right. We're getting into some controversial thoughts here. Okay. These, I thought I had a good time with all of these books. None of them are my favorite. These are, I think, the Never After series. They're kind of the Disney retellings. So Hooked is obviously kind of a Peter Pan retelling where Hook is the main character. And these are like romance. Scarred is about, Lion King, Scar. Wretched, I believe, is I can't remember if it's Wretched or Twisted. I think Wretched is the well, anyway, Wretched and Twisted, one or the other, I can't remember which one, is Wizard of Oz retelling and I think Aladdin retelling. And then Crust is Hunchback of Notre Dame retelling. This was my least favorite, Crust. But the series, all in all, that was a great series so far. Echo of Old Books. This is going up to the top. Echo of Old Books was a phenomenal read. Totally hit me by surprise. It's absolutely fantastic book. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is always going to go on the top. I don't care who you are. And I don't care what you say, but every Harry Potter will hit the top for me. They're my absolute favorites. What Saves Us? This was so good. This was a great book. Again, I think it was a Facebook ad. It got me, and I loved this little romance book. It hit hard. Prisoner of Azkaban up at the top. Juniper and Thorn. Okay. Ava Reed's writing is very, very interesting. I really like it. I really like Ava Reed. Juniper and Thorn was such a fantastically interesting book. The setting, the plot, the characters, all of it, there were some really hard to read kind of themes and things discussed in the book. And by the time I got to the end, I spent most of the book being like, what am I even reading? And by the time I got to the end of the book, I was like, this is a fantastic book. This is fantastic. And funny enough, I remember this. This was a prompt that I pulled from the Bookworm game, and it was like a ballet prompt. And lo and behold, I had a ballet book. This is great. It's not going in the top tier, but it is absolutely great. Queen of Sorcery, Belgariad book. Oops. Going with all the rest. Expeditionary Force. These are all fantastic books. You know what? I think all the Expeditionary Force series books are my favorites. They're so good. For a sci-fi series, so good. Eragon, this also is going up in my favorites. This, I haven't read Beyond Eragon, but Eragon was very, very good. Finding His Mate. This is a Colleen Delaney, not Colleen Hoover. A Colleen Delaney book. It's very spicy Wolfie, Omega, Versi, whatever. Didn't dislike it that much. It just not my favorite. It's okay, but not my favorite. Done and dusted. Done and dusted. And the rest of the series, I imagine, are all going to end up in my absolute favorites for the year. Another X4 book. Expeditionary Force. And my absolute favorites. For the Throne. This is the second. This is by Hannah Witten. This is the second book. There's For the Wolf and then For the Throne. I wanted to love these books so bad. I really, really did. But both of them, just not my favorite. Lightlark. That is perfectly average. Nightbane is one that I am wanting to get into to finish. And lastly, Ruthless Vows is going up in my top favorites. This was the first book that I finished in the year of 2024, year of our Lord, 2024. I loved it. I thought it was a great conclusion to the duology. I will not complain about it, and it did exactly what I wanted. So, here we go. This is it. This is my 91 books that I have read in between January and June. That's a lot of books. All right. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about these books. If you've read any of them, if you want to read any of them, if you have differing opinions, hit me with your best shot in the comments. I want to hear them. Otherwise, have the best day and enjoy.